Hello everyone, welcome back to my E3 coverage for 2016, and it's time to talk about the Ubisoft press conference, my recap and reactions. Now, Ubisoft, they can have high highs, they can have low lows, they've been like this over the years, and let's see for ourselves, going line by line through what they talked about, if it was good or not this year. In my opinion, kind of a mixed bag. But they did a lot of things right, in my opinion. In fact, the very first thing they did at the press conference, they did right. They got Just Dance the fuck out of the way so we can talk about games people care about. Because I've been saying this for years, and I'll say it again. No one who watches E3 cares about Just Dance. Just Dance is a game for casual gamers who don't play the hardcore games. They're the party-style gamers who want to dance around with their friends, and that's fine. That's a huge market. Just Dance is a huge success for Ubisoft. But they don't need a giant fucking segment in their show with Jason Derulo and fucking bullshit. So what did they do? They opened up the show with some dancers. They one dressed like a lion, one dressed like a bird or whatever. They danced for 5 minutes. They got off the fucking stage, and then we got to the games. Genius! So they are learning. Aisha Tyler is back as the 5th year now as the host of the Ubisoft press conference at E3. I'll be honest, I kind of like her. She's not hilarious, but she kind of keeps it loose and it's fun, keeps the stuff moving. Even though you can tell a lot of the time she's just basically saying stuff that she's told to say. She's not bad. So I prefer her than say if Yves Guillemot or whatever the hell his name, Yves Guillemot, the CEO, was the head of the whole conference, I'd probably turn it off. I like seeing her. All right. So, this is the 30th anniversary of Ubisoft. Their 30th anniversary year. Pretty good. You know, Ubisoft's a long-time game developer. I played tons of games over the years from them. So good to hear that it is their 30th anniversary and they're still going strong. Although, as you know, recent years, they've had some troubles with some games that have released and been pretty shitty. So, they announced Just Dance 2017 is coming out in October for all the current consoles, and the Nintendo NX, it'll come out next year when the NX is released. Woohoo, who gives a fuck, on to the good stuff. So, Aisha opens up the show with a bunch of jokes. Some are funny, some aren't. She swears, says the F-bomb immediately. I don't know what it is, but apparently the entire show was based around the word fuck. Because I think they said the word fuck more than I say. And you know me, I swear like a fucking dirty sailor. They must have said it about 20, 30 times during this press conference. Which, by the way, lasted over 2 hours. So far, Ubisoft was the longest press conference. We'll see if anyone else can top that. But anyway, let's get into it because there's a ton to talk about. Ghost Recon Wildlands, they show a gameplay of it. It's open world. It's either solo or 4-player cooperative gameplay up to 4 players. It was a staged demo, but it was nice to see some actual gameplay. There's a chopper that actually is able to pick you up and fly you along this huge open world area. The chopper landed, and then the team went out and tried to deploy in this place trying to take out a certain target, and so they tried to be stealthy. They took out some targets, and I'll be honest, the combat kind of looks like a combination of Metal Gear Solid and other, Ghost Recon style games of the past. So they sneak in, they're taking out 1 or 2 targets here or there, oh, try to blow something up to cause a chain reaction, but the target gets alerted and starts to run away. Now the game changes completely from stealth to an action-based game. Everyone jumps in like a vehicle, someone's driving in a Jeep, someone's on a motorbike, and they're chasing this guy, they're trying to take out the target. It was pretty fun, it looked pretty interesting to me. For me though, I'll be honest, I think this is going to be a co-op game. You have 4 people who want to play it, even 2, 3 people who want to play it, and go through it and do these co-op missions together. It could be a lot of fun. Playing it solo and having to rely on AI to actually do some of the cooperative stuff, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical, alright? But the game did look good, alright? And it's coming out March 7th, 2017. There you go. Up next, South Park, The Fractured Butthole. Huge! Huge. This was like 15 minutes of the conference. They took out a ridiculous amount of time for it. I was incredibly pleased because, as you know, South Park: The Stick of Truth, an amazing game. I played it 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2014, right? I loved it. It was one of my favorite playthroughs in recent memory, and people loved it, and the playthrough was incredibly successful on YouTube. So I'm so looking forward to this next one. I love South Park. I love RPGs. So let's talk. First of all, they open with a fake trailer. It looks like all kinds of stuff like a typical Ubisoft game. Oh, the world's at peril. Corporations are taking over. Crime is at an all-time high. Who's going to solve it? The South Park kids. And it shows them all dressed up like superheroes. So it's pretty funny, the opening there. So first they open up with character creation. And they show you that, again, not only can you create your own character, but now there's 12 different classes. Whoa! There were, what, 4 or 5 in South Park: The Stick of Truth? So that adds a ton of replayability. If you want to replay the game as a different class, that's pretty neat. They showed that one of them is the Speedster, which is supposed to be like, oh, the Flash or Quicksilver, fast character with abilities based around that. They show your origin story. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's all over the internet already. It's absolutely freaking hilarious. And then they show combat, and they show combat is refined. It's the same combat from the original game, but now, like a lot of more modern RPGs, yes, it's turn-based, but you can move back and forth on the screen. You can get behind your enemies to try to do moves like grab them and slam them. You can hide behind different areas. So if the enemy's charging up to do like a powerful magic spell, jump behind a box, and maybe the magic spell will miss or have reduced damage because you're behind a box. It's basically a little bit more of an action-based RPG than the first game was. I'm totally cool with that. It advances the game engine, and it makes it a better game, in my opinion. And then they also said, yeah, you can even manipulate space and time with fart. The farts are back. Yes, remember you were the, it was supposed to be like you were the Dragonkin, the Dragonborn from Skyrim. That was the parody in the last game, but it was with farts. Well, now you could still have farts, but they're like super powered. They can actually have time advance or go backward in time. Seems pretty interesting to me, and I'm loving it. They announced that if you pre-order the game right now, digitally, you will get the Stick of Truth for free. So anyone who didn't play South Park: The Stick of Truth, this is a no-brainer. Pre-order the game now, get the Stick of Truth, play it before this one comes out. Holy shit, that's awesome. And the biggest news, it's coming out December 6th. Wow! That's amazing, because December typically is a month that's slow. There's almost no new releases and nothing going on. This year, December's looking like it's going to be stacked because we got South Park. If you watch my Microsoft press conference coverage, Dead Rising 4, and I actually believe there's one other game that's coming out. So we got major games coming out at the end of the year. That's freaking awesome. All right, so let's continue. The Division, which is a game that I skipped earlier this year, and quite frankly, not one person has told me I missed anything. Everyone says it's a co-op-based shooter, and if you don't play it cooperatively, it's basically shitty. So I'm glad I skipped it. They have a DLC called the Underground DLC coming out in the summer, and if you get it, you'll have 3 outfits, which are armor sets or something like that, and there's a new survival mode in the game, and I'll be honest with everyone, I basically zoned out. I don't care about The Division. I don't care about this DLC. If you like The Division, it's good news for you. For me, it wasn't. VR! Oh boy! So ladies and gentlemen, this begins our VR segment of the Bethesda showcase, which I'm not even kidding you, lasted about 20 to 25 minutes. Yes, they spent that much time on VR. They focused on 2 games. The first game they focused on was a game called Eagle Fight, or Eagle Flight, I'm not even sure. On the Oculus Rift, they had 6 people with 6 Oculus Rifts on stage supposedly playing this game. And the game looked like shit. First of all, graphically, looked like a cartoon. Didn't look like anything current gen. Now, I'm fully aware, that virtual reality needs to run at a higher frame rate than regular games, and for it to perform, you need to actually have less detailed graphics to hit that frame rate. But this game looked shitty. It looked even more cartoony than, say, like Team Fortress 2. It was just like watercolors, and you're a bird and you're flying around grabbing a rabbit, and it's 2 groups of eagles trying to kill each other by shooting at each other and biting each other and stealing the rabbit. And basically, it's an overblown capture the flag where you fly through the air instead of being on the ground. For the people playing, maybe it was fun, but after watching this entire thing, right, this whole thing was like a 10-minute presentation. I'm not even kidding you. They showed the people on stage playing the game, and I swear to God, this is exactly what they looked like. And this was for 10 minutes. I'm not kidding. This was them moving. They had to have full range of motion of their neck like this, like crazy, for 10 minutes to play this game. Can you imagine trying to play a game that's not just simple capture the flag, like a full-on fucking game with VR, and you gotta move your fucking neck like this constantly to play the game? Now, either they were massively overacting, or if that's the truth, VR is gonna hurt everyone's neck to be fucking moving like that. Now, the other thing that I found hilarious about this, it's 6-player cooperative or 6-player competitive capture the flag. So if you want to play this with your friends, you need 6 Oculus Rifts. 6. Oh, don't they cost like $600 to $800? So basically, if you want to drop like 10 fucking grand on PCs and Oculus Rifts, you can play a capture the flag game with eagles. Wow, you sold me, Ubisoft. You guys are great. But that wasn't the half of it. Then they went to the second half of their VR presentation, Star Trek. Now, for this one, they got LeVar Burton, who played Geordi LaForge. They got the actress who played Seven of Nine in Star Trek Voyager. Forgive me, because I always forget her name. She's the blonde lady. And they got Carl Urban, who apparently is from something called Star Trek Beyond. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Maybe they're making a new series, and he's the new captain. I have no idea. So they show the 3 of them sitting around playing the game. And again, I have to tell you, The game looks like shit. Now, I don't know, I mean how it plays, I mean how it looks. There's no textures on any, there's no detail, there's no shading on anything. It's like basic graphics from the early 2000s is how this fucking game looks. And I'm like, this is VR? Like, this is the future of gaming. Low resolution for the sake of doing it with a fucking headset so you could be in, like, VR setting. I don't know if I want to do it. Now, it's not all about graphics, let's face it. Games are not all about graphics. We all know that. Games are about gameplay, graphics, story, everything together, okay? So maybe the graphics were forgivable and the game was amazing. If you listen to LeVar Burton, he kissed this game's fucking ass. It's just like being on the Enterprise, and I went right into the mode of being back on the Enterprise from when I was on Star Trek The Next Generation, and I was doing this, and even though I was the captain, I found myself saying stuff from back then, and herpa-derpa-dirt. He basically said it's the best game ever. If you're a Star Trek fan, maybe it is the best game ever. I'm not going to say it's not, but do I want to spend, again, Oculus Rift, $600 to $800 just for the headset, plus a gaming rig that could do it, for a low-resolution, no-detail game where you're on the bridge of the Star Trek Enterprise? Like, and this is what I mean, like, I made a tweet at the time, I said, if anything, what the Bethesda press conference is showing us is that VR is not for the common gamer. This is for someone who's an enthusiast, a hobbyist, someone who has tons of disposable income, an early adopter, who wants to go buy 1 million of these headsets and a bunch of PCs, and just for the sake of showing off your affluence, come over to my house and play fucking Eagle Fight. Or we'll pretend like we're on the fucking Starship Enterprise. This is not consumer-based technology. A normal consumer who plays video games will not buy this. And nothing at E3 showcased anything in VR that made me say, I need to go buy the Oculus Rift. Which is what I said earlier this year. I said, it's not going to sell. And by the way, if you check sales numbers, it's not. It's come to a screeching halt. No one's buying it anymore. So, I don't know. I predicted this earlier. I think, we don't know. Sony press conference hasn't happened yet. I don't know if they're even going to do anything with the PlayStation VR. But that one's made cheaper. It works on a console that already exists. That could be the VR that's going to make it. I'm just saying, nothing at the Ubisoft press conference convinced me otherwise. All right, moving on. For Honor. This was the big medieval, kind of hand-to-hand based combat game that we all saw debut last year at E3. We have way more information. The same bearded dude, game developer, came out to talk about it with his epic voice. He's pretty impressive. Basically, the game, to me, from the impression that I got, looks like a more realistic, slower-paced Dynasty Warriors. It's going to be you as this overpowered fighter, whether it's a Viking or a samurai or a knight or whatever it's going to be, against a bunch of generic enemies. And there'll be enemies that are higher level, maybe like kind of like the like in Dynasty Warrior, the mini boss characters or whatever. And once you clear out a certain area, then you get to a boss fight. Okay? But the thing that gets me, it doesn't seem as fast-paced as Dynasty Warriors. It seems like maybe it seems simple. It seems like there's a light attack, a heavy attack, a dodge, a block, a parry, just like every combat game of third person, right? But nothing when I watched this gameplay demo blew me away. It was like, I've played this game before. It looks nice. The graphics are nice. It'll be cool to play multiple different races, but it doesn't seem like it's anything revolutionary. A lot of people who were watching it were comparing it to Rise, Son of Rome. I don't think it'll be that bad. That game was a fucking tech demo piece of shit for the launch of the Xbox One. I think it'll be better than that. But still, it means to be said, like, what did they show you in this that blew you away? My answer, nothing. It just kind of seemed generic to me. So it's coming out February 14th, 2017. The same day as Persona 5, Valentine's Day. Take that as you will. They said that you can register for the alpha right now at Ubisoft.com, and there will be several alphas that you can participate in over the next several months. So you might want to do that if you're interested in the game. Then they mentioned this game, Grow Home. I don't know anything about this. I guess they supposedly mentioned it at last year's conference. I don't even remember it. Apparently it came out and flopped. And they're saying there's like going to be new content or an expansion or a new one coming out this August. I fell asleep. Didn't look good. Then Two Idiots in Stripes came out. That's right, two idiots with beards. They're ultimate hipster idiots. Come out with fucking tiger striped full-on suits. And they come out with music that makes them sound like they're the World Tag Team Champions of Game Development. And they come out. One of them can barely speak English. They've made a crossover game. They took Trials and Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon and combined them to make Trials of the Blood Dragon. Yes, it's got all the weird-ass humor from Trials and Blood Dragon. It's got tons of 1980s references. It's psychedelic like that. It's got tons of wacky shit. Basically, it's a super duper wacky hybrid version of Trials, and apparently it's out right now. It just got released today. I don't know. People want to see me play this. I need some feedback here. It seems weird to me, but it could still be fun. But I don't know if this is anything that would hold any interest. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like a weird fucking mishmash game that wasn't well thought out, in my opinion. And even though it could certainly be silly fun for a few hours, is this something that people are going to want to see me do, like, a playthrough of? Since it's out E3 week, I am debating doing it. If people want to see me do it, I'll actually probably ask on Twitter tonight, would you like to see me do this week? Maybe I'll try it out this week. But if it's a $60 release, there's not a fucking chance in hell I'm buying it. And I haven't had a chance to turn on my console yet, so I guess we'll see later today. Alright. Assassin's Creed, the movie's coming out later this year, starring Michael Fassbender. And they bring out a director, and the first thing the director says is, well, you know, we know that there's such an awesome story. You know, this real story that's been going through all the Assassin's Creed games. Well, we got rid of that, and we made our own story. I'm not even kidding you. He says this. Well, you know, we threw out all that story, we made our own story for the movie. And I'm like, so you've got characters who people love from the games. Throw them out, do something new. You know, this is like they would every video game movie. Throw out all the stuff that works, try something new that's not going to work. Sounds like a great job, Mr. Director, sir. And he says, we've got a real story that goes from the beginning to the end and we'll have a resolution. Wow, you know, like every fucking movie. It's in theaters December 21st. I mean, the trailer played, and I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't turned off. It didn't look bad, but what the director said turned me off about the movie. Like, wow, so what? It could have Ezio in it, or it could have, you know, any of the assassins, or it could have this interesting plot. Threw it all away. Wow, you're smart. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Whatever. Some people were mad that they even were advertising a movie at E3. I thought it was okay because it makes sense because it's a video game movie. Anyway, Watch Dogs 2. What do I have to say about this game? Well, new location, San Francisco. More fast-paced, in my opinion, and more maneuverability in the game. It seems like they made the animations more fluid. The platforming seems better. It seems like there's a lot more options when it comes to hacking and stuff. The character, the protagonist, is an African-American gentleman who actually has lots of personality. All right? A lot of people complained in the original Watch Dogs that Aiden Pierce was boring. He was like emo. He wasn't interesting. This seems to be the polar opposite. But my question now is it too much in the opposite direction? Because he's saying, fuck this, fuck that, shit dick's ass. He's basically like over the top. And I don't know if it's going to be too much, quite honestly. They show that there's co-op in the game. If you want, there's people who can drop in and out of your game to do co-op missions. But I don't think it's the main story, to be quite honest. You're part of the DedSec hackers group, who are part of the first game, but you're part of the hackers group now. You can fly little drones in areas to do recon and to even, like, use a shock people with them. Tons of hacking. Like I said, the platforming is more natural. Comes out November 15th. And then Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, came out and said, guess what? We're making a Watch Dogs movie. And everyone at the press conference is like, we just heard about Assassin's Creed and we kind of forgave that. Now they're going to make a Watch Dogs movie. But let me guess, it won't star Aiden Pierce and it won't star the protagonist of this one. It'll be an original story. Alright, anyway, I digress. Alright, they also mention if you buy Watch Dogs 2 on the PlayStation 4, you will get 30-day exclusive access to any DLCs. You'll get it first on PlayStation 4. Then they say there's a collector's limited edition coming out that will come with an actual little drone robot with a remote control that you can pilot around. I'm sure it costs $700, so I'm not interested in that. And then to close the show, they showed a new IP. It's called Steep. It's about extreme sports in the Alps. So you're talking free-falling, you know, either parachuting or skydiving, what do they call that, glide suit? What do they call the glide suit? Wingsuiting, skiing, snowboarding, all kinds of extreme sports in a mountainous, snowy region, excuse me. It looks beautiful. I'm not gonna lie here. The graphics looked really nice. Like, blew me away. Visually, the game looks stunning as hell, and I actually did really enjoy the visuals of the game. They actually show when you're playing the game, you can play with other people. It's multiplayer, and at any time you can pause, rewind, and relive a scene. So if it's, wow, what a nasty wipeout, you can immediately rewind it and see the whole thing in slow-mo and hear the scream, and there's these loud bone-cracking sound effects that play as people like hit trees and stuff. Sounds pretty brutal. My question, though, this is an honest question. Can this game sell? as a full-fledged game, can this game sell? It's just skydiving slash parachuting, skiing, snowboarding. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not arcade style. Like, SSX was a very popular series, but it was arcade style with that. Doesn't seem like that. It seems like more of a simulation game with funny deaths and stuff if you wipe out. Will it sell? I don't know. Is there going to be enough in the game, you know what I mean, to make it sell? Or is it just going to be, wow, it's beautiful, and you play it for 40 minutes, and you're like, now what the fuck do I do? I don't know. But anyway, they said, steepgame.com, you can register for the beta, and guess what? This game releases in December. So South Park: The Stick of Truth and Steep both coming out in December. 2 huge Ubisoft releases. Kind of interesting, right? So, for me, Ubisoft was hit or miss. Here's why. They still went through the motions of the shit that you don't care. No one cares about Just Dance. The VR doesn't, it's not selling me. You know what I mean? The Division I didn't really care about. I'm sure some people do care about. And there were a few things there that didn't really, you know, For Honor, I don't know, Grow Home, But there was some good stuff, too. I mean, definitely Ghost Recon Wildlands is stacking up to look like a good game. South Park releasing in December. Looks amazing. Cannot wait for that. Didn't really care about the movie announcements, quite honestly, just being honest here. And Watch Dogs 2, I like it. It looks better than the first game. So for me, it was a mixed bag. Not the best press conference. Definitely not. But certainly was better than some of the stinkers. Like, I would probably tie them with Bethesda. I think that Ubisoft and Bethesda did about the same this year. EA is way the fuck down here, and Microsoft is above those. So now, we've got Sony and Nintendo left. We'll see what happens, all right? But that is my recap and my reactions to the Ubisoft press conference. I hope that you found it informative and entertaining, and I hope you'll join me for the rest of my E3 coverage this week right here on the King of Hate vlogs. And keep in mind, I'll also be doing a big kind of best and worst of E3 stuff over on my KO Gaming channel, youtube.com/KO Gaming 1 later this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you for more of this soon. Peace out.